You've probably heard many people, including me, say that in order to get faster at cubing, you just need to do many solves until you improve. So you sit down, pull out your timer, and do, say, 100 solves. This takes 1 to 2 hours. Maybe you get a PB single, or maybe even a PB A05. You feel good, close the timer, and do something else. But pause. There's a huge problem with what you just did. Or rather, what you didn't do. You didn't improve at all. Why is this? How can you not improve when numerous YouTubers, including me and online media, have told you it's an effective way to do so? It's because what we didn't tell you about this method of practice is that this is, and always has been, the biggest lie in cubing history. If you just sit there doing solves hundreds of times without thinking, you are doing the same thing over and over again. If you make some form of mistake, you'll make that mistake over and over again. If you're missing a finger trick, you're missing it over and over again. Don't believe me when I say this method of practice is useless? Even Einstein defines this as literal insanity. So today, I will be showing you how to break out of this loop of stalled improvements, a way to improve at cubing that will finally bring purpose into practice. The method I will show you in concept is simple. It comes in 3 main parts: learn, train, and implement. You must start by learning something, and before you can learn anything, you need to pick what you want to learn. Believe me when I say this, everyone has something they can learn. Perhaps you already know full CFOP algs, ZBLL, winter variation, and more, and you say that there's nothing left for you to learn. But the truth is, algorithms are just a small part of cubing. Instead, the most critical thing to learn is concepts. This can be two-sided recognition of PLLs, how to identify OLLs faster, or just improving at F2L. You really cannot be perfect at F2L. After deciding what you want to learn, take time to learn it. Do not rush. In fact, take it slow. You want to not use brute force to memorize information, but rather to completely and fully understand it. Understand deeply why an algorithm works, or understand why it is possible to identify all PLLs with 2 sides. It may seem redundant, but it is rather helpful to keep the memorized information solidly in your brain. After learning, you want to train. This means you focus all of your time doing that one step that you learned. If, for example, you are learning X to Y color neutrality, that is solving on the yellow side as well as the white side, you want to only do solves on yellow for a while. Resist the urge to go back to white where you are more comfortable. Forcing yourself into these unfamiliar waters will allow you to adapt faster to your new technique. In training, you want to focus on that one thing you have learned as much as you can. In the same example of X to Y color neutrality, perhaps you find the last layer as easy to do on yellow as on white, but cross an F2L hard for the yellow side. If so, you would only want to do the first few steps on the yellow side and re-scramble the cube after. Don't do full solves if that means you're wasting your time doing things you are already good at. Finally, after training, you implement. You want to do complete solves while implementing your strategy. In the context of learning color neutrality, this is now the time to mix in solves from different colors. You want to think through which side is best and do your solve on that side no matter what color it is. This is where it seems like it's going back to the familiar scramble, solve, and repeat pattern. However, you must still focus on and think about the concepts that you have learned. Don't let familiarity pull you back to what you were doing before. Continue applying your new concepts, but try to work them into your solves. When you feel like you have fully mastered the concept you are trying to learn, it's time to do the whole learn, train, and implement cycle all over again. These 3 steps, depending on what you are learning, may take anywhere from 1 day to a month. Don't let the fact that your times are getting worse during any of the 3 steps discourage you though, because it is simply part of the learning curve. You should see your times go back down after you have mastered everything. In fact, your time settling down into a stable pattern is a good indicator you are done with one learn, train, and implement cycle. With this video, I'm not even saying that you can't sit and grind a few hundred solves now and then as a fun little relaxation. I definitely still do that a ton, but what I am saying is that it is not necessarily the most optimal way to improve. It's far from it, actually. But with today's video, you have now learned the correct way to improve. I'll leave you off with this. The old phrase, practice makes perfect, might be true, but you need good practice to really make perfect. So from now on, practice smart. Don't let yourself fall into the biggest lie in cubing history.